This is our culture talk. We kind of already started. But
So, welcome. We have chocolate.
Do we not have an intro?
What?
Welcome.
Do we not have an intro?
We just start. We go. We don't need limits. We have no limits. Life goes on. This is like the time management talk we had. Stop thinking of daylight savings. Care about the starving children, Delaney.
Children! All right, so
That was
culture.
a fun talk. Culture.
Alright, we should recap what we already said.
Okay, so basically, when reviewing on like what kind of things should we talk about, I started with how in the clubs. So at college, at Princeton, people tell her, like all her guides and RAs tell her like, oh, you should join the African Studies Club. Oh, you should join the Nigerian Club. And I feel like in those clubs, she found kind of like a bit of brevity from like constantly feeling different, but it also didn't help that everyone there was trying their hardest to be American.
Right.
And,
And then we talked about, I mean, a lot of the American culture comes with we called it toxic nationalism in our nationalism episode, but we're so,
TM, toxic
shameless plug again, we're so prideful. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely a notable thing, because I could imagine coming from somewhere else and then being all American.
America.
As soon as you step into the threshold, it is America, America, America. Which, like I said, isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's just different.
Yeah, like people not freak out, but people are very protective of a lot of stuff. Like some people with flags,
Right.
they're like, if you touch a flag, you're gonna be burned, like you're being lynched. Like it's not, and it's not a bad thing. Like you should have pride where it is, but it's also very like like suffocating.
Yeah.
Where you're
Yeah,
like, welcome
I can
to America,
definitely
pride, pride, pride. We love
Texas,
everyone.
guns, woo.
Woo.
Guns,
And then
guns.
you're like, I come from a country, I just want an education. So you kind of want to be like kind of like a cult. You want to be, when you see it so
You want to
much,
be with
and
the Americans.
everyone looks
Yeah.
so happy and their futures are so bright, you kind of
You
want to
wanna
be
be-
integrated in it.
Yeah, and then I think for immigrants, my mom had a really hard time because, Austria, it's Austria, nothing ever happens there, But when she came to America, it was all kind of like, unless you were like super prideful about like being an immigrant to America, then you're like not an American. Like you're just not,
Yeah, and you should constantly be grateful that you're here.
Yeah,
That's
it's like oh, you should be thankful we let you into this country. You should be thankful that yeah.
Right, which is why I feel like if I couldn't talk to Blaine and stuff about her issues and what she found in
But you
America, that's why
wanted-
she
She's like-
used her blog to just kind of let it out because no one would listen.
It's like, well, why don't you just go back to your old country? Like, what am
I
what
hate
if my
those
old country
responses.
sucks?
Because people are like, why don't you just go back if it's so hard? It's because I'm not here to quit. I ain't a quitter, okay?
Yeah,
This is
mine
my
is no
stupid
quitters.
home, and I get to criticize it as much as I want. But if you tell me to leave, I'm gonna throw a fork at you. Like
That's a move.
so many people, because like people are so stupid online, where they're like, just go back to your country. It fixes everything.
yeah.
It's like, it doesn't. This is my home. I'm not here to move for you guys. So back off.
The
I
sub
think we
at
need to
school,
take
there
this
was
away from you.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
I think these are impressive.
All right, what were you saying?
Okay,
Sorry.
so there was I don't know what grade it was, but it was, I think it was at the junior high, I mean, it might have been this year actually. There was a sub, and the student told her to go back to her country.
Oh my gosh.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I was a teacher's aide in Miss Bobo's classroom. This is not at all Miss Bobo's fault. She just left as a normal teacher would and got a sub. And so I was a teacher's aide, so I was in a class with people younger than me. And so whenever a teacher's gone, normally I'm more like a team aide, like at a school there's teams. So I just went to a different classroom and helped out, and that was cool. And then the next day I went back, and apparently the kids were so mean to her, they made her cry and told her to go back to her country. And I was like, you are too young. Like, I'm only a year above you, and I know better than to say stuff like that. Because it's stupid, it's inconsiderate, it's hurtful, like...
Right, I mean, you can consider different places home, too. You can have the home you came from, the roots you grew from. You can have you could have a little bonsai plant that you take with you.
Home can just be a
That's
memory.
fine.
Yeah, I feel like, because the author, it talks about on the synopsis how she's constantly, she moves back and forth from America to Nigeria, like where it's like home can be more than one place.
Yeah.
Home is what you make it, and someone's telling you, and it's like a personal attack on that when someone's telling you, go back because this isn't your home and you should, because home is a place where you feel safe. It's basically threatening them like, this isn't safe for you.
And then, not to be a little cliche, but they say the home is where the heart is, and it really shows. As regardless of whether I like them together or not, when she came back to Nigeria, I was like, "Oh, Lindsay!" I dropped it in and it's getting intense. She was like, it's great. Nigeria, woohoo, we can just go together and then not care about his wife, but that's another story. But it was her home again because he was there.
We need to have a ranty episode.
Yeah. Oh, there's a joke.
That's every episode of Dusha.
It really is.
There's a joke that's like British people don't care about their monarchs until the monarchs get insulted, and then everyone's like, "You want me to throw a fork at you?" You know?
It's literally, that's like so much with so many things. People made eye contact with me. That's so awkward.
I really
The dude that walked by, I was like, wait, no.
We're really loud, guys.
Really?
Yeah. Basically, to take the voice level down a notch,
Can we?
I feel like constantly, it's like when you're close to something and you're with something, it's like the thing of like with siblings. They are stupid and annoying, and I have the right to insult them. But if you do, I'm throwing a fork at you.
I will cut your throat.
I have done that to people. I said that to
Okay. We're just gonna go off.
Yeah.
That's
My
every
brother-
episode.
Every episode.
He's 6, right?
Mhm.
Oh no.
I was right.
And he was he's such a butt, but he's so sweet, right?
Mhm.
And this kid, people are so mean to him in school for some reason. This child came up to him in PE this year and slammed his head into the brick wall. And I was like, if that little asshole of a kindergartner could do that, I would fight.
I have had friends, like, I complain about my sister a lot. She's annoying and bothersome. And then someone else, one of my friends who I've talked about earlier, who's not that great a person, was like, I just don't like her. She's really mean. And I was just like, I took it for a little bit. And then finally I was just like, you know what? I get to call her annoying, and I get to insult her, but if you so much as dare insult her, we are not talking anymore. Because, like, I will die protecting her, but I will also tell her how stupid she is while doing it. So
Yeah,
back
and I'll do that with like really close friends too.
Yeah, it's like I get to criticize them, but you
can't.
don't.
Yeah,
You don't
no.
have the
No,
right
no,
to.
no, no.
I get to call a news short, but no one else gets to. That's a rule.
That's a great analogy
This
right
is
now.
kind of similar topic, but I don't remember what we were talking. It was a late sleepover, and it was stuff that happened the week before. We were talking about a lot, right? And we were 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I was like, listen, hypothetically speaking, if either of you ever get yourself knocked up in high school, I'm going to slap you, and then I'm going to throw you a baby shower.
Right.
Like, you have to have that line.
I feel like
Yeah.
Mr. Cross says this a lot, but
Oh,
it's
God.
basically like America, we love to hate on it, we call it stupid. Basically this whole series is us critiquing it, but if someone so much as dare step on this land and tries to kill us, we're coming out in full
fight.
force.
Yeah, you know.
Like,
Attack on one of us and attack on all of us.
Fight.
Yeah.
like come at us.
Come at me, bro. Come at us, bro.
I know I
Come on.
ain't strong, but I got caught
Come
in
after
will
our
fight for me.
Texas.
I'm your
No.
betting horse.
Caught is my betting horse. Yeah.
What's funny is with Kyra and I, since we're mentioning people, but not, last names or anything.
Yeah.
She's a lot taller than I am, but I'm definitely the
Spunky, like
I'm the kangaroo.
like you're the
Yeah.
scrappy one. Like come at me. I'm the one who will hatch it.
Okay, I'm good.
You're the one with lots of chutzpah. But yeah, I feel like whenever you're close to something, you can critique it a lot. But when someone, because you know you don't like you mean it, but you know it's because you have their best interests at heart, or like you care about it so much that that's the reason why. But like if someone's insulting it because they want to hurt it, you will
You're like,
throw a fork at them. I don't know what you're keeping.
Hey, but forks are pretty deadly though. You can do a lot with a
Yeah.
fork.
I
You
would
can stuff
scoop
some
out your
eye
eyes
out,
with
you
a
can take
fork.
out
You
their
could like pop it out.
You know, you can
could,
stick
like,
it up their nose, like pull their brain out, you know.
You want me to do it with the ear, just like.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You just mess it.
Or you could just
Scalp
get
someone.
really
There was
violent,
like
just,
this woman,
in the
this
neck.
plays into the
Stabbing.
race with something. There was this woman, it was called the LaLaurie House in like New Orleans. And this woman like kept her slaves and locked them up in the attic. I did my whole like Miss Anderson extra credit like spooky story thing. And she would like tie them to like things. She cut off their heads and her husband and her would spin around their brain. It was really
I don't understand how people get that far.
Yeah.
It was racist.
No.
like 50s.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not
okay,
50.
that
I mean,
makes-
like,
that
it's
makes more sense.
I don't understand being violent, of course, but like punching someone in the face is different than lopping their freaking
Yes.
head off.
And they would like, oh my god, and they would break their finger, and then, you know, tendons, they would, and their ligaments, they would stretch their ligaments so they would hang. Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about Nigeria a little bit?
Oh wait, I have an article to
Okay.
share with you.
Your articles,
Okay.
your facts, your data.
My daily episode of facts.
Huh.
It was Missouri, Mississippi recently made lynching illegal.
Recently.
Recently, December
Oh no.
2018.
I have a question. Is this like a
so
punishment the police can, like a court punishment, or like you just want to lynch someone, go ahead?
Yeah, it was.
Which one?
It was the latter. So
That's
I read a little bit of it like a couple weeks ago, but so apparently it was about come on, okay. So it wasn't originally like a federal crime,
Right.
and then that bill just made it like a federal crime. So it was already like illegal, but now it's now like actually illegal. Now it's more like on the level like murder
Right, it's its
and
own
like
thing.
rape. Yeah.
Because, I mean, of course it's illegal to kill someone, but now it has its own punishment tacked on to the
Yeah.
end of it.
It's like manslaughter, except now like lynching.
Well, on that happy note.
Anyway, thanks for facts with Casa.
Let's talk about Nigeria. I just want to point out the relationships, because you see it, I mean, it clearly happens in America too, and everywhere else, but they made it very clear when she was in Nigeria about the relationships, like Kosi and Obinze, when Obinze came and was like, look, I'm cheating on you. And she was like, you could do...
I'm cheating on you.
Okay.
Sorry.
You could do. She was like, you could do acrobatics with your ex on the side, but we're keeping our marriage together, and no one has to know that you're with your ex. And I think it's really sad because clearly it happens here too, but they made it a very prominent thing in the book.
Like it's acceptable with men as long as you keep this perfect facade of a family.
Exactly. And
Like
it's
everyone
more-
knows it happens, but if you so much as dare to try to mention it, you are breaking all the barriers, and that's not.
Yeah.
And then no one seems surprised. She didn't even. No one
She's
seems
like,
surprised.
okay.
She's
She
like, yeah,
knew.
of course you have a mistress.
Like,
Everyone has a mistress. Like,
And it's so
Yeah.
sad. Like at the beginning of the novel, where she like kicked out that one housemaid for bringing condoms to try to protect herself.
I know.
Like I remember being like, and I really didn't like her. But then it was just kind of like going through the book and reading like the way Kosi interacts with things. It just like broke my heart at how like accepting she'd been of it. Like I mean, if someone brought like if I was Kosi, and
Oh
someone
yeah,
brought
a lot of things
condoms,
would have been different.
There would be a
Yeah.
very
I
there would
wouldn't
be
have
force
married
flying.
him in the first place.
No.
Because I would have seen how pathetic he is over
Yeah.
his ex-girlfriend.
A little
But
bit.
like if I was, and like the person I'd hired had brought condoms into the house, let's say I'm not me and I'm someone who's been ingrained with that Nigerian culture, I feel like people would do it the exact same. Like it's so sad how like she was, like, not what's it called?
And wasn't it because
Like,
she had been
ingrained.
abused by a former employer? Like,
Yeah,
wasn't
so
that
like,
what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's how she had no shame in saying get out because she's so insecure about
Yeah,
this
and her
marriage.
whole identity is attached to the fact that she has a man, she has a kid,
And
she's
she's
the perfect
beautiful.
Nigerian
Yeah, she just-
woman.
I
She's got
hated how, like,
everything.
I hated, like, this is not like a book hate thing, but like a character hate thing. So like
Yeah.
it's doing its purpose. I hated how she was constantly perfect. Because I think in a marriage traditionally it's like in a love marriage you like have both the faults. So like you can joke around, you can see someone like oh in their sweatpants like oh but I still love them. But she was always perfect and
Put
he did
together.
not bat an eye at it.
Yeah.
Her hair was always done. She was the perfect. They were putting their daughter in the perfect school. Their daughter was sweet and perfect, and everything was great. And he didn't even bat an eye at how this woman, like, probably,
Like, spent hours
spent
trying to, like-
hours making herself perfect. And he just saw it as normal, and I felt so stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then okay, so when I about died over Christmas break, that was a whole other thing. I started watching.
Did you tell?
No, it was a health thing. It wasn't a
Oh.
mental
Oh,
health
yeah.
thing. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Probably should have explained that, but
I was like, are you okay?
yeah, I'm okay now. Maybe. But I started watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Oh my god, that's exactly what I was thinking. You know how with Joel.
Okay, yeah. So in the
I
first
watched the first episode.
you know, she gets up and she lays down in the bed and she's all made up, makeup's, her hair's all pinned. She waits till he falls asleep, gets up, puts the face mask on, puts her hair up,
Yeah,
And then-
I
everything.
remember that.
And then when she wakes up before he does on purpose.
And then she like
Puts herself
undoes it.
in- yeah.
And then
You
she
know?
wakes up beautiful and perfect.
Well, and then a few episodes later, and I think it's in season 2 when they hook up again.
oh
I
yeah.
hook up again.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
I've only seen
I'm
the
so
first
sorry.
episode. I don't have
Oh,
Amazon
I'm so
Prime,
sorry.
guys.
Okay.
Yeah, they hook up again, but
We're gonna binge watch this whole show if I come to your house someday.
they were talking about, okay, so her bra, right? And she was like, yeah, and he was like, I don't remember these marks always being on you after, they took
Oh,
it off.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, that was
the
more
marks
like,
from
you
her
know-
bra sitting
Oh,
in
yeah.
her skin. And
Yeah.
she was like, oh yeah, I always powdered them so you wouldn't see them. And then when they woke up in the morning, he was like, do you always look like this in the morning? I don't remember that.
Yeah, and also there's also a scene where she was like, "Oh, give me a second," and she wanted to like undo she before they always like had sex, she would always like undo every other button to make it easier for him.
Yeah.
And then I think she might want to close her ears for this part because it's kind of spoilery. So when she gets a new man, when she gets like a new man, like she doesn't do that like pampering thing anymore.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
divorce changed her.
Yeah, and she's more confident now, I think.
You know what? That reminds me of. There was like this Netflix movie that came out. It was like Napoli Ever After. I don't remember. I watched it.
Yeah, I watched
Like
it.
how. And it was like that's from the 50s, but this was like set in modern day.
Yeah.
She would wake up super early and like do her hair,
Ugh.
and then
When she'd
Nobody got
lay
time for
down,
that.
and then
she'd, like, wake
she'd do
up.
her makeup. She'd lay down, and then he'd wake up, and then
and she'd
like
act like she just woke up.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like so much. I don't have the effort.
Well, and have you seen the pictures where, I mean, it's honestly a relatable thing because it has a picture of a woman with quote unquote heavy makeup on, eyes, lips, everything. This is what men think heavy makeup is.
Yeah.
And they're then they have the natural makeup where it's just
This is what
perfect
heavy
skin,
makeup is.
chapstick, and some mascara, like what heavy makeup actually is. And then natural is bare face, looking a little busted. Like,
I've heard
Some
men who
people,
are
you
like,
know-
"Are you sick?" And I'm like, "No, I
No,
just didn't want to
yeah.
take the effort."
yeah, because I used to, in the whole hair phase before everything in 7th grade.
Gotta
I
be
used
perfect.
Yes, when I was in that phase where I straightened my hair, I was wearing makeup every day, I had cute outfits on all the time. I don't know how I did it. I don't know. But and then I
I've
stopped
never been
wearing
through that
it. I stopped wearing it last year, and people came up to me like, "Honey, are you okay? Like, you look rough. Are you all right?"
I'm living my best life.
Wow,
Thank you very
that-
much.
Yeah, and then there's people come to me all the time like, "You look so tired, but you always look tired, so it's fine." I was like, "Yes, I'm tired. I don't sleep. Thank you."
It's not my fault. I have natural dark circles.
Me
Okay,
too.
it's
Yeah,
in
like
my
me too.
family.
There's no
Look at
concealer that
punched
can
in
get
the
rid of
face.
this.
Like color corrected concealer doesn't help. Color corrected concealer foundation and regular concealer doesn't help.
I'm lucky if I find an olive shade.
I
With
got
all
I
the
got
glasses, I
knowledge
look like a
in
raccoon.
I stopped
Like this is not okay.
Same.
My mom, because my mom has kind of sunken in eyes. I mean, it works for her because she has great cheekbones, but I look like a weird round thing. My
No, you
cheeks are.
don't.
You should shut up.
They
You're
are so
nice.
squishy.
They're not as bad as mine, so.
Anyway, how were we gonna say? Oh yeah, so this plays. I guess it plays into the culture,
Yeah.
like being perfect.
Mm-hmm.
In Nigeria, there's always
Yeah.
we talked about this like a couple episodes ago, but Nigeria is facade heavy, just like America. We
Maybe
want-
there. I would say maybe a little because we've made to put this on a happier note. We've made strides. I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah,
we're all
yeah,
right now
yeah.
with pop culture. We're more like, who cares? Like, I bet like 20 years ago we wouldn't even be having this conversation. We would be
Oh,
like,
no.
no, I am always
We
perfect.
wouldn't
Like,
have been friends 20 years ago, honestly. If you
No.
look at the group of us, we
No.
probably would have been okay, but we
Yeah.
wouldn't have been.
No,
No.
back in India, Shepherd. My family comes from Shepherds, and I am proud. I've actually seen, like, to put more in culturism in
Yeah.
India, because there was a caste system. Like, even though they got rid of the caste system, it's still like heavily at play. Like, I'll be around like other Indian, like older people who are much more traditional, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, like I didn't come from farmers or anyone. I was like, because the priests were the highest
Right.
level, and I definitely there's no way they all could have. And I was just like, I never understood. I'm like, I come from shepherds. Who cares? They made the money. I'm still here. I'm great. Don't got any diseases. I'm happy.
Right.
Like, I'm proud of my ancestry, but it's like it's so ingrained. Like, even though the caste system was gone a while before, like even before, it's still there. Like there are still people whose ancestors like were untouchables who still like are treated badly, and it's just like ingrained in the culture.
Like,
I've watched an M&M.
I think when
Getting
that's,
intense, guys.
I think when something like a caste system or like a racial system or pretty much anything has been ingrained in the society for overly like a really long time, it's gonna go away at some point, but it's not gonna go away like anytime soon.
Right. Well, it hasn't even gone away here because we have those socioeconomic patterns because when black people were released from slavery, did they have money in their pockets? Absolutely
No.
not. Which is why
Like, where
when
are
you
you
look
gonna
today,
get that money? They
the
didn't have
quote-unquote ghettos and everything here, a lot of it's a predominantly black community a lot of the times. Just
And
because
that's where they
it's
came
from here.
Yeah.
It's just, nobody looks past that, we live in the country club and we drink our Dr. Pepper instead of Dr. Thunder and blah.
What's Dr. Thunder?
It's like the off-brand versions, what you drink in the ghetto.
I mean, I hate Dr. Pepper. And
I don't drink pop either.
I mean,
It
I
tastes
like
like cough,
Fanta.
cough medicine.
I like pop, I just gave it up randomly in 6th grade.
Yes,
I like
really
Dr.
didn't like
Pepper
it, so I
for
was just
3
like,
days.
why?
I'm a Coke girl though.
I like
No,
lemonade.
regular Coke, not cocaine, just for the record.
I'm into cocaine.
Cocaine. Are you from California?
I'm not
Where is this cocaine California thing coming from?
It was a nationalism episode. We were like, when you got horses in Texas.
Oh, I
you got
forgot about
Coke
the
in
things that
California,
Vermont
Vermont,
scared me.
we got
Which is
cheese
like-
in Wisconsin.
You got Vermont, which is like Canada with more alcoholism, and then you got California with the cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Everybody wants to be an actor, so.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why they turned to the cocaine.
You gotta be one with all the
And it's
actors.
funny because they can't afford it.
It's like, why do you
So
have
they're
so
getting
much
crack
debt?
and not cocaine. They're getting the bad cocaine.
Yep.
They're
Yeah.
getting street
Because
crack.
there's good cocaine as well.
My dad's a cop, I know a lot.
That's a good defense.
I'm just saying.
I know.
Not for personal
Yeah,
experience.
Conta, what's your defense? Your
I think the
dad's a
worst drug
Scandinavian
ever.
history professor, and your mom's an accountant. I want to know your defense.
Okay. So, when I was 6 years old.
That's a bad story already, isn't it?
None of you got my second hour history class, so you've never heard this story before. I don't even think you have.
Why did you tell your...
So when I was 6 years old, I was running around my very sketchy neighborhood with one of my friends, that neighborhood had a lot of drug, gang, I use that term very loosely, and like a lot of poverty and stuff. So I ran by house, the window was open, and I saw someone doing heroin. And I'm also like 95% sure the people living next to that had a meth lab.
Oh, that's fun.
Great.
Yeah.
Love that.
So yeah, also heroin is brown, like
Yeah.
the amber color.
What?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of conversations. They've always, between the military and my mom working at DHS and everything, we've had so many conversations. I was arguably too young, but I've always been on the more mature side. So I didn't do this with my sister, but we've been talking about stuff like that since I was like 5. So,
Also, someone got stabbed in my neighborhood, like right the house next to my.
My family has conversations about like Xanax. Or something. That's like my sister and I though. We were like talking. I went to this. My parents dragged me to this stupid ACT prep. You heard the horror story. It was stupid. It was a class taught by people who had never taken the ACT before. Anyway, so after there was a song playing, it was like I need a Xanax or something, and I was like I need a Xanax, and my sister was like, do you know what Xanax is? I was like depression medication. Yes, I know it. It was fun. And then my parents were like, stop talking about drugs. Yeah.
I made a joke.
Where is this going?
drugs are also ingrained in culture, for the record. It is.
Yeah, and like
because-
also some of people being like, you're gonna find drugs, like stupid like rich
But
white
don't
boys
do
in their
drugs.
polo shirts.
And with the
like,
jewels and the weeds.
Like when they do weed, it's fine, but if you go into a less, neighborhood,
other
like,
teenage
they do
neighborhood,
weed,
like I
it's
would
like,
live
wow.
in. Yeah.
yeah, like this is dangerous. This is just boys having fun, boys becoming men, and
Yeah.
girls becoming.
And let's be honest,
like,
marijuana is a gateway drug for everybody. It's not just, it's
Yes.
not.
Yeah, and also, by the way, the I did some history on like the weed on the weed
On the
Why?
on weed.
Why?
I've done stuff too, it's fine. I understand.
Hey, actually,
weed
I've
and it's-
researched poisons before, so it's cool.
Medieval torture methods are also interesting.
Those are
Look it up.
There was an academic team. You
Yeah.
missed it.
I
You missed
know,
it. There
I
was
was
an
so mad.
academic team. So we had our competition.
Wednesday,
We
no.
won anyway. So we had a competition, and there's like speed rounds, and one of the speed rounds was methods of torture, and I knew every single one except Chinese water torture. And oh my gosh, it's the one where they drip one drop at a time. Till it goes in.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
It was
The
Mr.
ruler?
Herring was sitting there because I was keeping time. Mr. Herring was just like, I would have gotten all of these when I was in academic
Do
team.
you guys know about the pear?
Pear.
Oh, you never heard about the pear.
What? So I'm very concerned. This is worse than my story.
It was like 1300s, right? Medieval, in there.
Yeah.
And it was for women mainly that they deemed lying or gossiping. And where they put the pear varied. It's just there's a few places you can
Did
put
they
the pear.
Yep.
And
Did
it's
they
basically
say,
like
yeah,
it opens, and then there's like stabby thingies, and they just like depending if it's your mouth, if it's your butt, if it's something else, they're just like, and then it like stabs.
Oh my
inside of your body.
Oh!
I went on a weird YouTube tangent one time. It was so bad.
Oh, fun. Don't
We're gonna
Google
look
it.
this up.
Don't Google- This is not culture.
Okay.
So culturism, even then, that
Hey,
was the culture.
even that was part of it.
I feel like we're talking so much about like the
Guys,
bad
I
stuff of
swear
culture,
I'm
which
not
is
a
true.
serial killer. Just for the
Yeah,
record.
because people have done
Your
stuff
Google
too,
search
so-
would say otherwise.
Actually, no, my Google search is very wholesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Sure.
My FBI is coming
I
for
just
me.
look up random things like, who is this actress married to?
Oh, I do that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this, like I'll look up, like attractive people, like actors or something. Like I'll see and I'll be like, are they married? I want to know more about their life.
Yeah.
But I feel like all like the negative. There's always like some drug, something really kind of horrific that people do that's always associated with a certain culture.
Skin bleaching.
With the and then like with Latino and Hispanic people, it's gonna be like drugs,
Drug
like,
cartels.
gangs.
drug cartels, gangs, and then like weed and like weed and stuff. And then for like black people, it's the ghetto and drugs, and then for
It's like so much like
Muslims.
fake culturism and people being like, this is
Yeah.
their culture, when in reality, culture is so vast.
Right. Well, and I
Why?
love. I mean, I don't love it. It's an expression, but it's interesting to me how when people are talking about culture, looking at it from the outside, or if it's their culture, they'll ignore certain things, or
To make themselves feel
yeah,
bad.
and if it's the
It's
other
like
way, and
toxic
they're talking about
nationalism, toxic culturism.
And if there's a culture that someone else from the outside is talking about, they ignore all the good things and they talk about just the bad things because it's just
like the
it's just
terrorist
them.
Muslims.
Yes. Even though literally they're
Like,
just
it's
radical
such
Muslims.
it's
Yeah.
such a peaceful religion.
Yeah, they're chill, They make good baklava.
That's another episode, but I don't
Get
know
off
if that's
their
going to be an
backs.
actual episode. But
That's
it's
another topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't be a jerk.
Not everybody falls into a category. but
Yeah,
that's-
you know.
Yeah. Look,
You can't just classify an entire religion, the second biggest in the world, by the way, by just like what, like.
Right.
You do
Or all
believe
Christians would be classified
radical
as KKK.
You know,
Yeah.
just remember, yeah,
Just
remember.
But it's that people take this one part that's maybe the worst part of it and make it everything.
They magnify
Like,
it.
if you look on, like, TV interviews of a lot of people who are, like, bigots, who will be like, it's radical Islam. If you look in the Quran, I'm like, if you look in every religious text,
There's something.
they're from a different time where people were not always the most respected, okay? You can't look at religion from one text. I feel like I've always had a very, like, religion is a much more vast than the set of rules you're given.
Yeah, for sure.
And you shouldn't, like, limit the worth and, like, how good a religion is based on some things written, because it's in everything.
Yeah, like, okay, Christianity, the first, like, half of it, like, the Torah portion, like, what is it called, the Old Testament? Yeah, that's got some very sketchy stuff in it, you know?
Well, yeah.
And it's
very-
because it's from a different time.
Yeah.
And there's an actual verse in the Bible, I don't remember what it was, but they were talking about how you're not supposed to raise your sons the same way their fathers were raised.
Mhm.
Like you have to
And,
adapt.
Life
Yeah.
as
grows.
life
and also
goes
how
on.
you're supposed to, like, sell your first daughter when someone comes by or something, you know?
What?
What? I don't know what you're talking
It was
about.
like, there was, like, a thing, like, it was like, if a man comes by your house and requesting marriage, you have to, like, give your daughter to him or something.
This is a very good possibility.
Also,
Yeah.
just in any phrase, we are not
No,
attacking
no,
any
no,
religion.
no.
This is hint because I feel like all of us have our own different beliefs, and it's not at all like even like in Hinduism. I like to dub ourselves the hippies because we're all like karma, and we have no like we have set like religious texts, but there's not like one main thing in like a lot of them. But like even us, we're like when to draw back to like the period talk we had earlier, like there's like a culturistic thing in India, which I hope they get better about it, where like if you're on your period, you shouldn't go into a temple because it's unclean. And I definitely don't think that's a religion thing. I think that's a sexist priest thing. Because, you know what, I'm fertile, and I think God would love that I'm fertile.
Hey.
So,
yeah.
you know what, back off. But hey, if it spares me one ride to Oklahoma City, I'll buy into it. I'm not the best person. Don't criticize me. I'll fight the patriarchy when I want to fight the patriarchy.
That is a mood.
Yeah, like, I want it to, like, I'll fight, like, even this morning, I was explaining, like, I was telling my mom about mansplaining, because I saw this article about white-splaining. That's, like, a whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, like,
Sounds
white people
alright,
will try
you know.
to explain racism to people of color.
Yeah, but it sounds like something like people will do.
My mom and I, because my mom's really
Something
into the
we're doing.
whole like modern feminine thing. She's just like, I love it. Like she's really into Legally Blonde. She was just like, this is fantastic. I love it.
Hey, Elle Woods the role model.
Yeah.
I
Elle Woods is
love Elle
amazing.
Woods because she stays so true to herself.
You know. It was just-
I love how
Great.
she like didn't change.
Would we be friends in real life? Debatable. But
I really don't think I would have. Just
I don't
because
think we would have. If we were friends by accident, yes, I wholeheartedly believe we
I
could
feel like
be
I wouldn't
friends.
go out of my way to.
But I wouldn't be like,
Yeah.
we're pink buddies. Yep, right there. You and I.
Yeah.
Together.
Papa new, right?
Yeah.
Papa new.
Well,
Papa
it
new.
was something. But, what was I going to say? I was going to say something about being within your own culture. I think you have to really pay attention to every single aspect of it. Because, like we said, religion plays a huge role, but so does the
Because a lot of old
economic
civilizations.
Yeah,
We can't really
A
get
lot of
tunnel vision
religions
when you
ingrained with
talk
it.
about culture.
for sure.
Oh yeah, you can't separate the two things. Same with history. Early history, there's religion infused with it. You got to deal with it. And you can't say like with the Greeks, all their beautiful architecture, a lot of them were temples to
Right.
gods and
Yeah.
goddesses. Like, and if you want to be like, I don't want to talk about religion, but get over it.
You have to.
History is religion. Even if you are not religious or you are very religious, you have to come to terms with religion is a thing that's in our culture. Yeah.
Well, see, and the thing, because I like researching other religions and looking into everything, and there's honestly a lot of similarities between all.
I've always
between
believed
every single one of them.
There's
there are
always
some
a
in
bad
it.
guy.
There's
Right.
always like a Satan-esque kind of person.
Demonic kind of
Yeah,
creatures.
of
And
course.
the
person.
creation stories are pretty. They're
all, like,
similar.
yeah.
I have a very
Even,
like loose, not a loose view of religion, but I think religion is very wide, and you
Yeah.
cannot narrow it down to one specific thing that is completely accurate. So whenever people are like, I don't want to talk about this because it doesn't benefit my religion, well, you have to look past that. The world is created off of different ideals and values, and a lot of religion affects that. So if you want to say, I don't want to talk about this religion because it's not mine, you're
Then-
being closed-minded and closing yourself off to thousands of cultures that are really
Yeah.
beautiful, and you could learn a lot from it.
And I feel like the privilege that, like, oh, I don't want to talk about politics because it doesn't affect me. That's like
I
a
don't,
privilege.
Because I grew up in a
like,
household where people were like, don't
We
talk about
don't
politics
do
because we want you to be safe. Yeah,
Yeah.
we did talk about this. Did we talk about? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, yeah.
Where I was like, where my parents, they wanted me to be safe because we live in a community which is predominantly Republican and I'm Democratic. But it also made me constantly feel like I don't have a voice. And I know that wasn't what they were trying to do. They were trying to keep me safe. But it's that they tried to, the fact that they had to try to keep me safe.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is really.
And then another big factor in culture is language. When you see that, especially when it's at the hair salon, and I forgot what her name was, but the lady who was doing her hair was like, you need to talk to my head.
Aisha?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy.
Girl.
She was like, you need to talk to, I'm really bad with names, but it was the one guy who's like, you have to speak Igbo to him. You have to have that conversation so you can convince him to marry me, sort of thing, which is a very, that's a very culture-esque thing.
And as
there.
someone who speaks 4 languages, there is no set, like, especially for like Spanish or French, there's like there's never any like set boundaries for them. Like European Spanish is like a million times different from
Oh,
like
yeah.
Mexican Spanish, Canadian French, and then like actual like French. It's like 2 different
It's all
things.
dialects.
I don't actually I speak a German Jewish dialect, not like true German. Apparently, because like some of the stuff I say to like people who like know like proper German, Hochdeutsch or whatever it's called, they're like, what are you saying? Like it's German, but it's not like comprehensible German. Sorry, that was a
No, it's
thing.
okay. I was trying
No,
to look for
it
the
makes
name. I
sense,
couldn't
yeah.
find it.
It started with an O. I just don't remember what it was.
I feel like it was I don't know.
I don't.
It was something. It was
Yeah.
one of her two dudes. There was two.
Yeah.
There were two.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's when people
But she
like
liked the one more.
Mm-hmm.
want to close. Like culture is so beautiful. Why do you not want to?
Well, see, and and it really bothers me when I look on social media and stuff, and people who are in the limelight, if you will, and they go and have their weddings and they do it in a different style than what we're used to, especially if it's an Indian wedding.
Yeah, Priyanka
There's,
Chopra's
yeah,
wedding.
Priyanka, yeah. It's
I love
so
that.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not even. It was gorgeous, but and people get so upset. They're like, "Your husband is that." Blah. They had 2 ceremonies.
I was very upset with the way they like the media handled it.
Yeah,
I love the wedding. Made me so happy because
They
I
accepted the
definitely,
differences.
yeah, I definitely don't know who I'm gonna marry. My parents are very open. They're like, marry whoever respects you. So like, I can't for sure say I'm just gonna have like an Indian wedding. I would love an Indian wedding, and I hope my future husband will, you know, accept that. But I also want to address culture. So like, that's definitely a thing that like has filled me with anxiety, like stupid anxiety stuff that happens.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's filled me with anxiety. Like, how am I gonna please everyone? If like, so I remember seeing their wedding, and I read an article about it by one of my favorite authors, where she's getting married, and she's half Filipino, she's half, and she's half Indian, and her husband is completely Indian, her fiance is completely Indian, and so their wedding made her happy, because it made her feel like you can merge 2 cultures and not feel like you have to please one. And I hated how the media handled it. Certain media outlets would only show some pictures from like the white wedding or the Indian wedding, and I was like, why not just show both? It was a beautiful ceremony.
Yeah.
It's 2 people who love each other.
They clearly loved each other.
Yeah,
I was
like,
go
yeah,
through
they're-
in like a week
yeah.
period.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like
They're both hot people. They both have like really nice weddings. Like, hello.
they're
And
really
I
pretty.
think cultural fusion is such a pretty thing.
Yeah.
So there's this thing in Indian culture called a sangeet, and it's basically like before the wedding, it's like a music celebration between 2 of the families. And I remember watching it, and I was like, oh my gosh, his family's taking it so, because they had like a huge concert thing, because they're extra, and I love them for it. But and I was just like, because I was scared, like I wasn't scared, but I was like, maybe they won't take it seriously because it's not in their culture. But they went full out. They went with like the boy band. Oh my god, it was so. I was so happy.
Well, see, I mentioned my dad was in the military, and he deployed to Afghanistan in about 2011, and I think he really appreciates it, but there were also things that he saw that, I mean, another cultural aspect, like there was, I know it really bothered him because the girl kind of looked like me, but they couldn't intervene with some things, right? And there was this village they were going through, and this father, and this little girl was really young, right? And he was outside, he was basically beating her with a stick, right? And she was like 6. And that was a cultural thing, and they can't, of course they can't intervene with that, but you have to observe all aspects to where you can really, it really comes down to your beliefs too. Like you can expand, you can widen your beliefs, you can, and I think being culturally aware and being culturally intelligent is a really good skill.
It is.
And there's a
not
difference
very many
between
people now have that.
Yeah. There's a difference between because I feel like a lot of people nowadays like go to both sides of the spectrum instead of just like you should meet in the middle of being like culturally aware. The opposite.
Don't be hurt.
Yeah.
And don't be.
Yeah. The other wedding? No.
No.
Just don't be someone who's.
Don't be Kurt and don't be her.
Close-minded.
Yeah.
Don't be
Janika.
Yeah.
I guess she was kind of anyway. But like there's also the side of like people who take culturism to the so there's this thing, I don't know if you guys heard of it. It's like exoticism.
Right.
That was like
yeah.
the West like when they were kind of not discovering but coming into more like Eastern and Asian cultures, they like kind of made it like what they gave it like toxic culturism. They gave it that thing. So like don't take a culture and make it like the big controversy that happened recently was the Ariana Grande 7 rings tattoo.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, in Japanese, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah, and people, and how she kind of said, like, I know it's not what I wanted it to spell, but it looks cool. And how people were really offended by that because it just shows that, like,
She's unaware.
she doesn't care that it doesn't mean what it is. She cares because it looks cool and that it plays into that. And I'm sure that's not what she meant, but it's also, like, that thing of, like, people not being aware.
Like
So
objectifying.
yeah,
some-
like if you
some
want it, it's
culture.
cool. Get a Japanese tattoo, but do not say
Do the
that
research.
just
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
bad. Like I would have rather she just said, you know what, I was happy with how it turned out, and I am cool. Like it makes for a good memory instead of just saying like it looks dope.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and then I think you can't, when learning about a different culture, the only way to truly learn is to be immersed within it, because you can't go based off of what the media portrays or what's in movies, because half the time they either dine in on the beautiful things or they completely magnify every single tiny little problem within the community. You have to really go and you have to put in the time. You have to meet the people. You have to understand their belief. You have to,
Story time on that. My dad, when he first came to, so you know Indiana Jones movies? I love Indiana Jones movies. The, what's it called? It's the second one. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. Okay, it's
never
Indiana
seen
Jones.
I should know
and
this. My mom loves them.
Oh
She
my
watches
gosh,
them every
this
time they're on.
I do too.
Is it the crystal thing?
No, that
No,
was
that
the
was
worst
like
one.
the-
It was
Yeah.
the
Was it
blood.
the last one?
It was the second one. That
what was
took
the
place
first
in
one?
India. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Heart something.
It is Temple.
Temple of Doom.
I
Yeah.
like that one.
This is shameful. Luke's gonna
I remember
kill me.
that
Luke
one.
and I
I've
have
never
full on
watched them if that helps.
Watch them.
I'm
They're
uncultured.
so good.
I haven't seen like any of like.
I made you like
the-
watch all the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah,
I've seen
I've
all
still
those,
not
but
done
I
that.
haven't
watched
watched.
Star
I've
Wars.
never seen Star
You
Wars
haven't seen the
either.
latest. Oh, Star Wars is so good.
It's
Though.
not just me.
Indiana Jones either.
You're uncultured.
I watch TV shows.
I really don't watch
Anyway.
any.
I don't really watch that much,
Indiana
but my
Jones
mom
is a
watches.
beautiful film series,
They
but they
are,
do the Temple of Doom was an interesting movie where it's set in India and it kind of stereotypes a lot. So basically, when my dad came to America, like in his the first month or so, someone asked him. So there's a scene in Temple of Doom which takes place in India. It's kind of like in a weird like cult area of India.
Yeah.
Like it's not like it was just like this like weird religious thing. I don't know. And so this guy's basically like an emperor thing, and like they serve really weird food, and one of them is a soup with eyeballs.
Yes.
So someone asked my dad, "Do you really eat monkey brains? Do you really eat eyeballs?" And my dad was like, "Sure." No, he said no. I would have said yes. I also eat humans. I eat annoying little humans who stereotype everything from movies.
Every time we drop in them, it gets more.
It gets
Yes,
really,
it is.
yeah.
I'm probably eating at a table.
Yeah, it's
It's
fine.
fine. It's fine. No one's been in here since we have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone has, because they moved the signs.
Oh no, I already did that.
No, I mean,
Oh
but
yeah.
we-
So, quick story time. We bring food in here, but we're not supposed to. So every
Because
time we come
we're
in here,
rebels.
we turn the
Yeah.
signs around that say no eating in here, and then when we walked in, I had to change them back too.
Yeah, I mean, it
They're
just
on
makes
to us.
everything more interesting when we have dates or we have chocolate. and
Yeah, you know, it's just a
Food
nice
is coping
thing.
food.
Yeah.
How can we talk without this? Like, we've eaten this whole, this was
Yeah.
full.
Yeah.
And you
I
have
only
four 14, 15-year-old girls who I think we generally are rather small.
Rather
Aw,
fit.
like,
Yeah.
no, like, we're pretty, I think we're pretty, like, healthy, you know. Not healthy, but I mean, like,
I'm
small.
probably the most physically fit here. Like,
yeah. Because you do, like, so
I
much
wish I
sports.
could.
I do.
I get
I mean,
sick.
I
Please don't know
run.
what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
I run a bit, so I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the most, we know I'm not physically strong. But I
I
do
person
run.
like always gets out of the way to move the staple.
Yes.
Like,
You're always
I
either not
don't have
here or
a,
leave.
like, I need to work on my upper arm strength. It's like, I can't do a push-up, guys, it's really sad.
I only have that because of percussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would love to. I actually really enjoy working out, but I can't at the moment because we don't know what's wrong with me, and walking too much makes me throw up. So,
Oh,
So definitely
sorry.
take that.
Yeah.
or like not entirely throw up. It gets very close. Walmart. We walked around in Walmart. I got to the parking lot and was like, I need a minute. So it's all
Keep
right.
yourself healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
Culturism.
yeah.
Don't limit yourself to a few things. Let yourself be wide. Culture is such a beautiful thing. Like, I mean,
And if you want to research it, research it.
yes,
Yeah.
and if you want to ask someone
Be
questions,
Don't be.
go ahead,
don't
but
be,
Do that.
don't
Don't
think they owe you an
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
No one ever owes you an answer.
And just ask honest, curious questions. Don't ask questions leading to an answer that is probably not accurate. Let's be honest. If you don't know what
Also-
you're talking about, it's not going to be an accurate answer.
Don't
What you
just
want.
go to India because you take a really good yoga class. We are not all yoga. Monkeys will chase you if your backpack is colored yellow. Real life experiences.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, my sister has a SpongeBob backpack, and we went to this like old temple in India. It was really beautiful. Like it was an old like palace type thing.
Yeah.
And like monkeys were there, and we had a SpongeBob backpack that was bright yellow, and they chased us. It wasn't even
That's
like in an aggressive way, but think of like little me who's currently terrified of everything, being chased by a monkey.
That's a
Was it
beautiful
this
picture.
year?
No, it was like when I was younger. That's why compared to like right now, I'm still like the most neurotic, like easily scared person ever. And then littler me, weak, scrawny me, being chased by a monkey who's my same height.
Nice.
Whoa.
Like my parents got a good laugh out of that. But it was basically like, do you know how geese will follow you?
Oh,
It was like
yeah.
that. They would just like walk behind me, and I was like, ah. It was funny.
You've gotten a lot. You've gotten up a lot.
Yeah, you really
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
I
Who's gotten up?
like standing. Yeah. I'm a hyper person. I've had a lot of chocolate.
Yeah.
So culture is good. It's beautiful. You're beautiful. Your thing is beautiful. It's fine.
Be positive, because, you know.
You
Also-
embrace where you come from.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ever feel like world is bad and you don't feel understood and your country is treating you badly, just remember Rome survived Nero. We can survive.
We're almost done with Trump, you know? We're really
Also,
close.
well, you can combine two cultures. If you feel home somewhere in two different places, I don't remember if I said this in this
Yeah.
episode, but you can have your roots and you can have your bonsai tree.
Home
job.
is not one culture. Home is what you want to be. If
Yeah,
my
you
home is M&M's and chicken curry, that's what it is.
And home can be something you have to learn to love. Sometimes it's just where your ass ends up.
That happened to Emily. She thought her boyfriend was coming with her, but looks turns out nope.
Yeah, I know. Benze got to England and it just didn't work out. So
Yeah.
he got
You know what? Don't limit yourself to where you are. Put it where you're happy. If you're in a sucky place, but you know you find solace on the internet, that's your home.
Yeah.
Just be happy. Do what makes you happy.
And go where you like the food. That's important.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Like a lot. Yeah.
Food
Yeah.
is good, guys.
Also, if you ever go to New York, never go to a fast food chain. You're in freaking New York. Go to like somewhere that's actually like, you know, decent.
If
But
you're in New
yeah.
York, why
Yeah.
are you watching this? You're probably living a much better life than us.
We're at a public library and stuff. Library.
Library.
My bad.
2020.
Guys, I'm on drugs. But it's the M&M's.
M&M isn't like chocolate is like. Isn't chocolate like one chemical element off from being like poison or meth or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
Some that.
I mean, depending.
Katz's Facts Hour
Yes.
with Katarina Lavery.
Yeah, so, library. We're at a public library stuffing our faces with M&M's not even really talking about the book. That's
Right.
probably
No,
a problem.
Well, I mean, we're analyzing
It is
it.
relevant.
Yeah.
You know what? This is what Miss Anderson would want from us.
It's chocolate Coke. Chocolate is Coke, question mark. Mrs. Anderson, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're so sorry that you have to watch every second of these films.
Yes,
of
all
us
probably
dying.
8 hours worth.
Is
Like,
Coke and chocolate poison in your vintage chocolate cake? Cocoa versus Coca.
We'll film another short video once we find out the correlation between drugs and chocolate.
Stay tuned.
Ending song, Anusha.
Yeah.
Briar, Briar, Brown, Briar, Briar, Brown, 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 sweet
Oh,
shoot!
What?
Also, my AC. Weed. What are the molecules found in chocolate that can act as a drug? Chocolate contains small quantities of amenadenine and an androgynous cannabinoid found in the brain. Andramidine is a neurotransmitter that targets the same brain structures as THC. THC, by the way, is the chemical that makes you high in weed.
The active ingredient in cannabis. Oh my god.
well, we made some discoveries.
Anyway,
Squid Man, guys.
Squid Man.
Squid
Man.
Squid Man the movie 2020.
So chocolate
Yes.
is also a gateway drug.
Well,
Interesting.
yeah,
That makes a lot of
that's
sense
what
to
we
me.
drugs education.
Well, I think that
Do we
makes
have drug
sense.
education? We should have drug
We
education.
should.